So, Diesel's Unlimited wanted to help us out with a new tail panel. Oh, look at that.
This is King Ranch style too, isn't it?
Yeah, King Ranch style. So that's awesome. We also got sill plates. Check that out. Because it's got the indent in there for the King Ranch. That's beautiful. So even the sill plates have the angle put in. Beautiful, beautiful work. So maybe we can put like a cat logo or something there. We'll see what we can do there. And actually what we're gonna do is get Caterpillar CNC out of aluminum, I think. And then just like it says the platinum, we'll put Caterpillar over top here. And that will look awesome. Because what's the point of driving a Caterpillar swapped F350 if nobody knows you drive a Caterpillar swapped F350? So that's really, really nice. That turned out beautiful. So Diesel Unlimited, check them out. And yeah, here we go. Okay, got the transmission cooler mounted. We also have a compressor on this thing. On top of the paint, we're gonna put Rust-Oleum's undercoating on there. Transmission's back together. That's it for the frame as you know it. Okay, in this episode, get the cab back off again. We'll put some Be Quiet sound deadening in this one. And we're gonna finish it up. A couple loose ends that need to be taken care of, and then we're bolting it down for the very last time on the frame. Here we go. Okay, so we're gonna start by taking the interior right back out again. I'm gonna start by making a, I already grinded the paint here, but there's a bracket that I have to weld from here to here that will attach this to here. So we got our mounting bolts up top here. I just have it in place with this wooden block. So they're only mounted, these dashes are really nice. They're only mounted on the sides against the pillar and up on the top. So we'll do that before we pull that down. That way we can paint it when the dash is out. And then we're gonna pull the rest of the interior out. I'll pull all this out and protect the carpet and stuff from any tack marks. But I have to clarify the seats and the 12 volt. Apparently I didn't think I'd have to. Like I thought it would come across as a joke that I put the Milwaukee batteries in the seats just so we can move the seats. And that is extremely handy for when you're building these custom brackets, that you constantly have to take the seat in and out and move them in different positions to find the right spot. And then I said, oh, and you only have to replace the batteries every couple months. Guys, I had so many comments on, you can hook 2 wires up to that and make that work. Yes, I understand that. Sometimes my jokes don't come across, but we were building a Caterpillar swapped with bus parts and 2010 dash with Holly dash that I think we're the only ones that are actually playing with the configuration of the dash, like this onboard air, all this stuff. And yes, I realize you can run 2 wires to a seat. Unfortunately, to the people that don't get my sense of humor, I just look like a moron, but anywho, I guess I gotta stop that because first time viewers like, this guy has no idea what he's talking about. It was fun reading the comments. Anyway, here we go. Okay, so to mount the dash, I just made a little plate that sticks out past the dash. I can weld this when I pull the dash out. But I don't know if you can see, I pre-drilled the holes there so that I could take a self-tapper and a bit, which of course is gonna fall out with one hand. But then I can self-tap it and drill and pull it in tight. That marks the exact hole where I need to drill it properly for a speed nut after, and then use my CAD drawing to figure out another little plate on the front here. I can pre-drill the hole for that and then weld it so it lines up, and then put a nut on the back of that as well. There's lots of access holes in the panel here where I can get at behind there. We'll put some more Be Quiet in between the steel and here. That way there's no squeaks when you're going down the road. Easy peasy, here we go. So bent up a little bracket for driver's side. I'll take that off and weld it. I should have cleaned this steel off better. Last time I had the dash out. It's kind of an afterthought. I'll clean it good enough to get a decent weld. And if you take and just round the corners off on your brackets, it only takes a second, then it looks more professional and not like this piece of steel came out of the scrapyard, because that piece of steel definitely came out of a unit scrapyard. Here we go. Okay, so I got a firewall here. I still need to grind the windshield ledge there, but I gotta figure out this wiper. So this is the wiper off of the 93, and that sat on the outside like so. But I don't have enough room for the arm to swing around, because we've now lifted this with the 2010. So the 2010, it actually sat inside the cowling and is mounted at the back there. So I think if I take the arm off of this one and put the arm on from that one, that will connect the linkages to this and then mount it inside, make a little bracket right down in there. Then I can close this up and then prime it, seam seal it, paint it, and then undercoat it. So yeah, let's see what happens. Here we go. Okay, so this is the 93 wiper motor. Super simple, 3 plugs to make it work. Where's the plugs? Right there. 3 plugs, and these, you can use these for conversions because it's super easy to make them work. Now I think Ford thought they perfected the wiper motor with this 2010 model because it's super simple. Look at all the little plugs there to make that thing work. Because they didn't even make it really serviceable. You can't even take the arms off of the linkage here. So actually, you know what? I know what happened. In the meeting, they're like, I don't know about this wiper motor. What if it breaks? And they're like, the 6.4 power stroke won't outlast that wiper motor. I guarantee 3 6.4s won't outlast this wiper motor. So it's not a concern. The rest of the truck doesn't matter because, yeah, 4 years later, they're in scrapyards. Anywho, we are going to take this, cut it off, and weld that to this arm so that we have the linkage for this. Then, I think because I don't have enough space where the arms meet, where they touch right here, see? Not enough room for the wiper motor here, but there is lots of room over there. So that, I don't think it really matters. So I think I'm going to cut this arm right here, and then cut this arm right close to the eye, and then weld this eye on this arm, and weld this arm on that arm. That way, the lengths will still be the same, or proper, and then I can just, wherever they meet, I can put the wiper motor, and as long as it swings all the way around, make a little bracket for inside there, and that's it. That wiper motor was in the weather. So this one would have been outside the cowling, out of the rain, crap. This one was in the abusive spot, but that's where it's meant. I was thinking about using this, but it's so much easier using this one because since we're using the wiring harness from the 2010, I can just plug it right back in again. Wipers are figured out. Bam, done. Here we go. Just like a factory. Amazing. Okay, so made a little mount for the bottom of there, and that's basically just a little stand for that to sit on. That way I can still, if I need to tilt the motor a little bit, one way or another, I can weld that wherever I need it to. See that? Now I'm just gonna take the other adapter plate from the original one and just cut the mounts off. And I'll probably weld that little tab right to this opening here and have it butt up against right here. Unfortunately, I can't use that hole. I have to weld that shut. And then I'll do the same with the tab coming down here so it doesn't obstruct this hole. Then I can still take this whole unit out just by unbolting it here, here, and down there, all through these access holes, and totally serviceable. Hopefully it works. Here we go. Okay, so that's what the bracket looks like. Spot welded from the top. There's that little bracket there. One bolt going in with a nut welded to the back. And then we've got the U at the bottom there, welded down. And then the other bracket comes over and with the rubber right there. So I'll put the wiper motor back on it again, make sure that I can fit it through this hole. And then I'm gonna take it back out again. And then we'll weld this solid, prime and prep everything on the inside, making sure that it's all sealed. We've got seam sealer for all the seals, but we're gonna prime it first. That'll allow the paint to kind of go into all these little pores and protect it as best as we can. Prime it from the inside as best as we can. And then we'll seam seal it and then we'll paint it from there. So here we go. Okay, so that's everything welded up. Looks really, really good. I'm really happy with that. I'm gonna put grommets in there rather than weld it shut. And so now I can sand the whole bottom, sand everything, clean it. Oh, so much work. And then we can prime it. Here we go. Oh, so I was happier before I said that sentence. Anyway. So that's the firewall, the rest from the 2010, and this is the 93. Oh. Again, one last look. If you're just tuning in now as to wondering why you go to California to buy vehicles, this is why. So, just basically we'll just knock the dirt off, scuff up the paint with some 120 primer over top of that, and that's it. It's almost impossible to sand this. This is like, I'll just blow that clean because that's like a sealer that they put on. But yes, just absolutely spotless. So nice. Just dirt. There we go. Okay, so that turned out really, really good. That's the windshield ledge. All my welds right there. We're gonna put dry. It's not 100% dry yet. I gotta put seam sealer on it. But even like the corner looks really good. That's all my welds. That's not seam sealer yet. Put some seam sealer on it. That's gonna take half hour to dry, and then we'll put undercoating on. Here we go. On camera. All right, we got Adam back. Fry's Auto Glass.
How you doing?
Good. It's an exciting day because the glass is going back in.
Yeah.
So you're replacing all the clips?
Yeah, we're just pulling the old ones out. I brought replacements. They'll allow the trim to sit a little bit tighter. because a few of them were really flimsy, and we want that hard trim to seat really well.
Yeah.
We don't want it moving around. So yeah, we're doing a bit of prep on the pinch weld.
This is 2010. You can see my weld
right,
up to
that's
here.
right, you said.
Yeah.
Yep.
This from here to here is still original, and I braced it behind there.
Yeah.
So I welded in 2 bars with an X, and then welded support so that the windshield doesn't change, and then welded in the firewall so it didn't move, and then I cut the X's back out again and welded everything solid.
Heavy duty.
I think I got it, but this is also the first time I've ever done that, so I hope, yeah, it'll be fine. We'll replace the clips and then put the glass in. And
Yeah, we got a bunch of work to do today. It's awesome. Looking forward.
We're laughing.
Why are we doing it?
Well, why are we putting the seal on
just-
the glass
Yeah.
rather than the pinch weld?
There's not a lot of surface area on the edge, and on this old of a vehicle, I just want a really clean install, and I think this is going to give us that clean install we're looking for.
This is a big step. Very, very happy because, yeah, again, you don't know whether I did mess up that bottom pinch weld, but everything seems to fit. Right? Adam, you're confident?
That's sitting awesome. It's sitting just as good as new.
Awesome. Okay, so I had to run to the hardware store to grab some knife blades to cut the insulation for the firewall. I figured I'd get some fittings at the same time. So before I get them all mixed up, that's done. So I grabbed this adapter to go from 1/2-inch pipe to 1/8, maybe quarter, doesn't matter, because I drilled it out and tapped it to the M12 by 1.5. Went to Tuesdays, grabbed a bunch of temperature sensors. So now that screws into there with some sealant on the threads and the copper washer. So the copper washer should seat on the brass fitting there, no problem. And then adapter to go from 1/8 to, I don't know, I hate all these threads are all wrong. That size to that size, which screws into here. NPT and O-ring boss and frickin' every size is different. Nothing makes sense. Nothing's the same. Buy the fittings, they're the wrong size. Doesn't matter. This looks like it'll fit in there, but it doesn't, because that's some weird O-ring fitting tapered crappy piece of crap that that's tapered at the bottom. So I think I have that hose still. I didn't throw that away. It's laying on a skid somewhere, probably covered in snow. We'll find it. The O-ring boss fitting. So we've got our fuel pressure regulator on the back here. We'll check our fuel pressure here, which is supplied by the FAST. Probably leave that gauge in there. Maybe not. We'll put, I don't know. Anyway, we'll put another Holley sensor in here. So this is the O-ring boss fitting, and I don't have one that goes to pipe, so I'll just cut this off and then drill and tap that for NPT. And then we'll put another Holley pressure sensor in there. And then this one goes into the coolant jacket right here beside this sensor. So that sensor will feed the computer for the cat, and this sensor will feed the dash information, so we'll know what's going on. On top of that, I did try to jam those fittings into those temperature sensors into my fitting for the transmission cooler, but I'll probably, without any oil in here yet, drill and tap the top of the cooler and mount those sensors there. I think that's pretty thick. Pretty thick. I don't think I need to build it up. I think I just need to drill it and tap it. We'll put it close to the fitting right there, and then we'll get we'll hold the cooler upside down, so all the shavings will end up right in that corner, and then we can vacuum them out. Then I'll probably still send that out to get flushed, just in case, and then we'll mount it. So, yeah, I hate these stupid little things. One other thing also, I got some leftover exhaust. This is from the Duramax, I think, from Lyle's. And this is the oil fill, which kind of points up my filter. So we're gonna cut this off and then mount the oil fill so it pokes up nicely right between here, like so. So I'll probably cut the top off, so because it just fits in between, so that the plug still works, and then just the middle will be different. And one more thing figured out. So we've got engine coolant, engine oil, fuel pressure, we've got coolant or transmission temperature, and then we've got air pressure in the tank all figured out. This line will now feed this one, and we'll leave a T, we'll plug a T for all the other fittings that we need later for airbags and whatever else. Here we go. Okay, so ready to put a little bit of sound deadening on this. This was the stock Ford stuff. It's got the holes for the HVAC and the holes to actually attach it to the firewall. I should have painted behind that clip. I might do that yet. But we're replacing that with Be Quiet's H-liner. The stuff's way nicer to work with. It's actually sticky, just like the stuff that we used on the inside, and should make this nice and easy. Now, this was the slave cylinder, and it had a cover over top. We're gonna cut this hole out because that's a good place to run our wiring for the actual cat stuff. So we might put a plug there or something afterwards yet, or just run it straight through a grommet. We're not sure. There's another grommet there. I'll just remember that in case we need something else, but the main wiring harness comes through here. And here, that's AC. These are the heater core lines. And then this is steering and brakes. So we'll put that on. Keep in mind that if you're a builder member on our website, you get 20% off anything that Be Quiet sells. And this should make a big difference. Once we're done in here, we're gonna put one more layer matting on the inside, the VComp, and that will keep this thing nice and quiet. So here we go. There's lots of clips that hold all this stuff to the firewall, even with the glue. A few thousand heat cycles, it's probably gonna come down. So down here, I put a strip where there's a seam, and then I put this heat shield back up, and that will pinch it right, this bottom stuff, so none of this will ever fall. Then the steering and the brake and the wiring harness will hold all this tight, and then I'll make a nice little bracket that just on a 90 that I can put around here that'll cover up the seam nice, and I'll probably just glue it to the bottom of this and to the top of that, and then that will finish it off really nice. Okay, so this is the transmission pan. I glued this stuff to the bottom. It actually forms really, really nice. And then I just took out the clips, the quick clips, and replaced with the bolts. And then those bolts will put washers on the bottom of them, and that will hold the edge of the bottom up, and this will get sandwiched nicely between the floor and the pan. Genius. It'll stay there forever. Here we go. So a couple things to finish up before we put the cab back on it again, and that's we got our longer line that we can make reach to the tank now. Transfer case is off and at the shop getting rebuilt. I don't need to take the air dryer off to get it out. I can just take it, basically put it in, get the shaft lined up, spin it, put the studs in, and still avoid that. So that's kind of cool. You guys were mentioning on the transfer case though that one, it wasn't heavy enough. They were the ones behind the Duramax, so people are tuning them up about the same amount of horsepower and torque. The issue is that they've got the solid front axle and we've got a moving front axle. So it does slide in and out of the transfer case, but you guys mentioned that that's not good enough. So thank you for your comments on that. We'll send that out, the shaft out, to get a slip yoke put in there, and that should be all right. 80% and 90% of the time we won't be using four-wheel drive. And I'm not going to switch transfer cases to a steel one or a different one, only because we've made our drive shafts already, and we're gonna drive it as is. If it blows up, we'll upgrade then rather than now. We already have it and it works. So on top of that, I think that's about it. Got the sensors in the engine, although we have lots of room because the fenders in that aren't on. So we'll tighten this line up and throw the cab on. Here we go. Okay, so the dipstick tube needs to basically hug the transmission all the way along the side of the engine and then come up the side of the engine dipstick. Problem is, when I tried to do that, I kinked it instantly because this pipe is not in very good shape. So what we're going to do is cut the end off of it, cut that end off of it, replace the center with flexible airline, the 5/8 airline, which fits in pretty good. It's all like pretty snug. I'll silicone that in and take it to V&R and get them to crimp that on. That should hold it in place. And then we still have our factory knurl in there for the proper depth. So just measure it and then we'll make a nice mounting bracket for that end. So here we go. Okay, it's back on there. Last time, the bolts are through the hockey pucks. Not bolted down yet because I gotta line up the fenders and stuff yet. But now's the next part. I just have to install everything in those boxes in there, that thing, order some new lights, some boost wiring, box there. And almost done. So actually it's not that bad. So the wiring harness is kind of different for most trucks. It doesn't really go through the cab, it kind of goes through the front here. So we've got a plug here that goes into that hole, and the opposite plug goes in that hole. Now there's a spot for the ECUs that those get plugged into, but I just need it for the lights. I need the fuse panel and I need these plugs because this plug goes to the wiring at the back, and that's it. I can thin this out quite a bit actually, and I probably will. I'm going to plug it in stock as it is and plug in everything on the inside, so just one on the driver's side and a couple of plugs on the passenger, and then make sure that all the lights work. So I'll probably just make sure that that's working with the dash, and then I don't need anything else. A couple for the ignition that turn on with that. I need one for the starter and I need one for the alternator, and that's it. So I'll try and thin this out afterwards and clean this up, and then I'll probably run the harness for the sensors for the dash in the same one. So we've got our oil pressure sensor, our fuel pressure sensor, our coolant temperature, and transmission temperature that are all going to be going into there. I got to figure out RPM yet, and that's probably on this one right here. I got to run to V&R and grab a sensor that goes in there because I can't remember what the school bus did, honestly. Is there a hole on the other side? Because then I probably have the sensor kicking. Yes, there is. So I had that sensor out somewhere. So we'll hook up our coolant lines, which is this. Put that in the right spot, and this one somewhere. This ends up here-ish, and then yeah, one thing at a time. We'll see how far we get. I think that's about it for. We're getting close to the end of this video, but we'll just bolt some stuff to the firewall, make it look like it's a lot more complete than it actually is. Here we go. Okay, so walking along, we got the air tank in the back of the F350, which I stole from the C10, or I thought I stole from the C10, because in the dark corner with no light, there's the actual air tank from the C10. I thought I painted it, but anyway, there's nothing worse than getting back on a project and there's a bunch of pieces missing because you robbed them for another project. And as I'm saying that, I just need this fitting, just this one fitting from here, and then I have what I need for the F350. And future Rich will be a little bit pissed. He'll be pretty happy because he's got the air tank, a little bit pissed because there's some fitting missing. Anyway, here we go. So this is their VComp stuff. I put that over top of the aluminum stuff with the glue on it. I forget the names of all this stuff because honestly they have so much stuff. You really got to check out the website to see what they all have. But anyway, this with the other stuff is about the best that you can get sound wise, they tell me. So we will let you know once it's running. The issue is this is the shape I need to make, and it's got like contours and folds and things to go around and whatnot, and I don't think I can make this work. It's not gonna work at all, is what people say right before they actually do it and try to make themselves look better in front of everybody else that's listening. So what we're gonna do is do it in 3 sections. So if we do like a round section here, and then we do another section that kind of butts up to this section and goes up, then we can cut the hole in there for that. And then if we do this section in here, and then glue it down and bolt it down and do whatever else we need to do, it'll be fine. It should probably work. I don't know. I'm gonna take a stab at it. We're gonna cover up all these holes, and we're gonna make all these holes. I don't even know what these holes are for, but I'm sure they serve some sort of purpose. So we'll just carry on. And these are probably the access holes for the dash. Yep. Foam for the. Might have to move that up. We'll figure it out. There we go. Okay, so foam goes towards the noise, and the only downside to this stuff is it is not sticky. So you make it sticky. I don't know if this thing still works. I think last time it leaked a little bit. It's probably clogged. You can get the 3M stuff in a can too. This stuff sprays. So basically put a layer on here and put a layer on the inside, and then wait for both to get tacky, and then they mate each other. There's noise coming out. Oh, there we go. Look at that. It's supposed to be a fan. There it goes. Oh, there we go. Look at that. So it's not like a paint gun where you have to clean it. You just leave it alone. Nice. I'm good at that. Just put it away when you're done. All right, spray the firewall. It should be golden. Here we go. Okay, I was gonna end the video, then Aaron was taking his time, so then I just gotta keep poking at stuff. The next section is gonna take me a while because I need to do all the little stupid stuff that takes a long time. So get the right ends for this, get the steering figured out. I need to figure out how to attach 93 to 2010, brake lines, power steering line, coolant reservoir, power steering reservoir. So all those little things are going to take me a little bit, but we'll keep making videos, obviously. The wiring should be pretty straightforward. I'm not worried about the wiring at all. And keep in mind that we have all the fabrication done for the coolers and the intercooling piping and a bunch of other stuff. I think we're going to remake this one. Vince isn't super happy with his welds, and I gave him some shitty aluminum, so we're getting some better aluminum and cleaning that up. He's like, yeah, the truck's turning out too nice. I want to make that one over again. So we're going to do that. Really happy with how the interior turned out. You guys know that the interior fits, the dash fits, all of that. So we don't need to show that going back in again. We'll work on the HVAC first. So I just mount the HVAC, get my AC lines, get Vince to weld up the AC lines to the compressor, all that stuff. But that's it for tonight. It's late. I'm heading to Newport tomorrow to do some work on the K100 Kenworth. It's in primer. I'm going to do some work to the roof, and that video will be out shortly on the heavy duty channel. And then I'm right back on this. We're waiting for some parts for the truck for the tank. And then once I'm a little bit farther on this, then I'll head over to the tank. We'll wire up and clean up that whole truck and put that on the tank. And then we've got 3 major projects very, very close. All right, and remember guys, be quiet. If you're a builder member on our website, then you get 20% off of whatever they sell. And or you might want to wait until we get this fired up and driving down the road if you need proof to how well the stuff works. I don't know. Anyway, that's it. Remember, if you're not filthy, you're not rich. So get out there and work on it. It's pretty clean. Should wear gloves. I'm wearing gloves. I'm trying, guys. Here we go.